The planning board meeting for Monday, November 1st of 2021. This evening we have all 5 members of the planning board, with Bob Schaffer being remote, so all of our votes tonight will be done via roll call. We also have Joe and Jeff from town staff, as well as Paul Stair, the town engineer. So we are complete, the band is fully together, and we're ready to move forward through the agenda tonight. As always, we start with open forum. Before I go to the board and the audience to ask for items for open forum, I would like to remind anyone watching at home that effective of the next planning board meeting, we will be meeting at 7 p.m., not 7:30. So as a reminder to public service announcement, if you watch these at home or if you're planning to attend in person, it will be starting at 7 o'clock, and that will be a time change that is in place going forward for all future meetings. So excited to start a little bit earlier next week. 7 o'clock.
7, yep.
You have my phone number.
We have you on speed dial, Kate. All right. Are there any other items for open forum from Joe?
Just if anybody's here for 22 Town Farm Road, the applicant did request to have the hearing postponed without any discussion to the November 15th meeting.
Okay. Anything from the board for open forum?
Nothing.
Nothing for me.
Bob, anything for open forum?
Nothing.
No?
Nope, nothing.
Paul, anything?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right. Anything from the audience for open forum? All right. Seeing nothing, we'll move on to our public hearing items. The first public hearing item this evening is PB 2133. Is that correct?
No, 2130?
2130.
2130. Oh, my bad. Okay, yep, 2130. 33 Robinson Road. This is a limited site plan review for an exempt educational use in accordance with section 942 of the Westford zoning bylaw and a stormwater management permit to go along with that. This is happening at 33 Robinson Road, which is Colonel John Robinson School. Applicants with us?
Good evening. My name is Arsen Hambard-Zoumian with Nestor Engineering, and with me is my associate, Hippolito Aguilera.
Welcome.
Good evening.
Thank you. It's nice to see you all in person.
Nice to see you.
So last time we presented, we had the similar layout. We've shifted the courts slightly over to get them further away from wetlands.
Oh, thanks, man.
And there has been some site investigation. We looked at we did a geotechnical investigation. They've determined that based on the composition of the soils, that the facility's in essence safe to be constructed there, and the benefit to cost is negligible whether you were to try to remove all that existing topsoil and reconstruct versus leaving it in place. And the topsoil has sufficiently decomposed over the years that it should not significantly settle over time. Having said that, there's been one change at the last conservation meeting Wednesday, which you don't have on your plans, but we consider it fairly minor because none of the layout has changed for the courts or the parking. They've just asked us to remove the drainage channel along the side of the road and replace it with catch basins in the parking. I have that here on the plan. Prior, we had a drainage channel here that went to this manhole. We've eliminated all that, added 2 catch basins, and that will allow us to preserve most of the existing stone wall and most of the trees that are there.
Okay.
With that in mind, the engineering department, Mr. Starrett in his office, has reviewed it. We welcome any additional comments you might have, but we believe we've addressed most of them.
Great. So, thank you very much. Joe, anything from town staff?
Nothing at this
No.
point. I think engineering is pretty satisfied with the progress to date. If there's anything outstanding, I'm sure engineering's welcome to speak on it and/or willing to work with the applicant if the board wanted to move towards an approval.
Thank you. Paul?
So, thank you, Mr. Chair. Paul Starrett, Town Engineer. We did see some topsoils or organic materials in some of the test holes way back when, and had asked for a geotechnical engineer to opine the stability of the soils. They did that. Novus went out. We went out ourselves. And the lens that is out there is relatively insignificant, and the thought from the geotechnical engineers that there was adequate separation there, that in a worst case scenario, it would have it would need some kind of settlement mitigations, who knows how many years in the future, but the cost of just putting down another layer of asphalt would be more beneficial to the town than going out and doing a major soil work project out there. So we're perfectly fine with it. The changes to the drainage system, we had actually recommended those in a previous iteration of our reviews, and but after going to Conscom, they agreed that that was the better approach. So we're okay conditioning what we have outstanding left with the approval, your approval tonight, if you should choose to do that.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much.
Out there playing tennis before you know it.
Yeah. Certainly when the weather gets nice, right? All right. Great. So with that, we'll go to the board. I guess we'll start to my left, so we'll start all the way at the end. Bob, do you have any questions or comments on PB 2130?
Yeah, first question, I saw in the packet they were still awaiting the fire department confirmation regarding the fire truck access in the parking lot. Has that occurred yet?
No, we have not heard back from them. We're happy to circle back with them and get their input. We did provide the analysis through AutoCAD to the engineering department, the vehicle turning analysis.
And we did see
Okay.
a turn analysis on school buses, because but obviously, and tour buses, which are actually going through there. So we don't anticipate issues, and then, of course, if they were responding to a medical emergency, they would probably use the larger parking lot anyways, because that's where you're getting in, right? I mean, that's one option for you, so.
Yep.
But we would certainly advise that the fire department chime in.
Yep. Okay.
And my second and last question just has to do with maintaining the rain garden. Is there a set of instructions, a maintenance plan being provided with this project for that rain garden so that the town maintainers know how to properly maintain it?
That's been eliminated as part of the drainage channel / rain garden.
Okay. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Kate, any questions for the applicant?
No, I don't, thank you. And looking at the plan, you're preserving a lot of trees now along the road, so maybe that will help you with landscaping. You won't have to do as much.
Absolutely,
in
there's
that.
going to be savings on the landscaping
Yeah.
and then the long-term maintenance.
Yeah. So,
That's great.
so that's good. Is there any concern, because we don't have fire department review of the turn thing, do we need, if we vote on this, would we need to just put a condition in, or can we just assume it's okay? And
On our end, we're happy with a condition, and anything, we don't foresee any changes, but any change would be a minor change in the curve radius of the curbing, so it would be fairly insignificant as far as layout of anything.
okay, so it would just be a minor
There's nothing
revision.
here that alarms me.
Okay, so if you would be comfortable if we find there's nothing else and we close it tonight
Yes.
already? That's it, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Mike?
I just have one question. What is a wick?
So, should the water build up underneath, it would just drain out to a trench drain. It's a stone trench drain with a collector pipe, a perforated pipe that'll collect the runoff and drain it out, so that the concern was to build up water and have it freeze and then cause uneven heaving or issues.
That makes sense. No, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Darren?
All right, cool. Thank you. Yeah, I know there was a lot of discussion early on. It was kind of a wet area, so thanks to you guys for working closely with engineering to, looks like satisfactorily, come up with a good plan here. So I'm happy with that. I have a question too. What is a detectable warning panel?
Those are the, sometimes they're yellow, sometimes they're red, or they come in metal, but it's these little bumps so that a person who can't see can use the stick and it will rattle and tell
Okay.
them they're approaching a street.
Okay, that's cool. Great, thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the engineering department for all their constructive comments. We feel like we've put a really good plan together.
That's great. So it sounds like it's actually going to be, it's above the current grade right now. It's going to
Yes,
be,
it's being raised fairly significantly to get it away from the groundwater and
great,
keep it dry.
great, thank you. I'm all set, thank you.
Great. I'm okay. I had a question about the organic material, but I think Paul answered that with his comments at the start. So I guess we'll go to the audience. Are there any questions? Anybody here to ask any questions or have any comments about 33 Robinson Road? Okay, seeing none. Joe, what's the right?
Question. Ken Smith, Lucinda Place.
Can you step up to the microphone? Just yeah.
Ken Smith, Lucinda Place. I'm a racket player, so I'm interested in when is the project going to be completed? What's the current schedule? What's a likely reasonable schedule?
Sure. I believe the intent is to bid over the winter, start early spring as soon as the weather thaws, and we're looking at a 3 to 4 month project to complete.
So June 30th is reasonable?
End of summer is reasonable?
Yeah.
Yep.
Great. Thank you for your question. Okay, so Joe, given where we are, is it reasonable to close the public hearing and request that you guys draft the decision for the next meeting?
Sure, that would be more than reasonable, Mr. Chairman.
Does anybody on the board have any concerns with that, or?
I move we close the public hearing.
Second?
Okay, motion and a second to close the public.
So if we close it tonight, and we get the draft decision next time, do you want to, would we vote next time or vote this time?
Joe, what's the right way to proceed?
You can certainly operate that way. You can have staff go ahead up and draft a decision, can review it, and then at the next meeting approve it.
Yep.
Or you could condition an approval now if you wanted to just have a decision drafted among staff and not review it ahead of time. But if the board is more comfortable being able to review it, have any changes that you would like, and then approve it,
They can do
could go
it.
to November 15th.
Yeah. I mean, I like to see the draft decisions, generally speaking,
Yeah.
before we take the vote, just in case, but, I mean, I don't know,
As long, I don't mind voting, as long as we do get to see the decision and review it and just,
We could send it to you.
There's no
Dylan, if
critical timeline here, Mr. Chair. They're not going to bid this project till over winter, so
yeah.
you have plenty of time.
So why don't we, maybe we,
Yeah.
well, if we're gonna wait on the draft decision, do we keep the public hearing open then, just in case?
Well, I believe you just closed the public hearing.
no,
Well,
we
didn't-
haven't voted.
yet. There was a motion and a second. I haven't called the
So
vote
you
yet.
can close it and just review the drafts at your next meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
Great, then let's proceed. There's a motion and a second to close the public hearing on PB 2130 for 33 Robinson Road. All those in favor, Bob?
Yes.
Kate?
No, just because.
Okay. Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, the public hearing for this item is closed, and do we need to vote to instruct staff to draft the decision? I don't think so. We just give instruction, right? So
Yeah.
We need a,
I think we're good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very rare split vote. Never split votes, that's good.
It's healthy. I'm closing the public hearing, I know.
It's healthy, but it's very rare, right?
Mr. Chair, we should have a vote to continue it to November 15th.
Oh, right, okay. Is there a motion to continue PB 2130 to the next planning board meeting of
Not going to be a public hearing.
November 15th? Thank you, Bob. Of November 15th at 7 PM, likely here in Meeting Room 201 of Town
Nice
Hall,
job.
but keep your eye on the
We
agenda
closed
in
the
case it has to be
hearing, but we need to continue the agenda.
No.
Need a motion and need a motion to continue, guys.
Yes, you obviously.
Second.
Second.
Box of them,
We got a so moved in a second. All those in favor, Darren?
Remember me and your will.
Are we continuing the public hearing, though?
No, we're
just
just
as-
continuing.
Close the public hearing.
Continuing
Because we
the
closed
discussion.
the public hearing.
You really don't need a vote.
Yeah.
It's just, we'll
Oh,
put it on
okay.
your next agenda,
Yeah,
draft decisions.
Okay.
It's not, no, it's not a public hearing item, so.
but the vote on the decision,
Continue the item.
yeah.
It's
Whatever.
unnecessary, but if you want to do it, that's totally fine.
We're already here, so.
I move that we
Continue the
continue the discussion and the final vote on 33 Robinson Road to our November 15th meeting, starting at 7 PM.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor, Bob?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
I say aye. Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. The next public hearing item is PB 2133 for 22 Griffin Road, also known as Cloverleaf Fields. This is a definitive subdivision plan, stormwater, with a stormwater management permit for 22 Griffin Road.
Chair, I'm going to recuse myself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The applicant's with us this evening. Before we go to the applicant, Joe, any updates from town staff on this item?
We did receive the letter from the Pedestrian Safety Committee that was handed out to the board and also emailed earlier as well.
Yep.
I think you'll see a couple other items as well come in from the applicant and from one of the members of the public.
Yeah.
Will probably be coming in, and you'll hear a discussion on that.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. All right, then we'll go to the applicant. Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Douglas DeShane, representing Allen Construction. George and TJ Allen are with me, as well as Steve Dresser. When we were here last, we went through the, sort of the last questions that we had. We talked about the easements. We talked extensively about the proposed sidewalk along Griffin Road, which is the topic of the letter from the Sidewalk Pedestrian Committee. And with all due respect to the committee, I think we have, in fact, agreed to provide the sidewalk we talked about, although we did say that it wouldn't be able to run down to the wetland where they had suggested. But with respect to providing some safety for the public, I think we've accomplished that, or will accomplish that, by putting in that sidewalk as we discussed. I also heard that town council has concluded that we will be filing separately for a common driveway permit for Lot C, which we moved. I'll get that filed right away once we get things wrapped up, but we will do that, and that will be fine. As I think Jeff said, he sent a draft of the conditions to Steve and I. We both went through it, didn't have a whole lot of changes. We're accepting of all the conditions, and so we're here to answer any questions you might have.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go to town engineering. Do you have any comments, Mr.
Yeah,
Starrett?
there've been some changes, and we've continued to keep pace with the changes to the plans. We do have in our comments here a strong recommendation that if you do end up with a sidewalk on Griffin Road, that vertical granite curb is the appropriate treatment. Since you're right on the edge of the road, we'd like to have some visual and some physical separation for pedestrians. People tend to stay away from sharp-edged curbs with their tires more than they do people, so that would help us to know that there was going to be a vertical granite curb there. And then there's still some up-in-the-air decisions about whether this is going to be a public water supply or wells, and of course that changes the plans altogether, so we'll wait until they land on a final decision, water or wells, so that we can look at a constructible set of plans.
Okay, thank you very much.
But they've been very responsive in keeping pace with our comments, and you have our revised comments in front of you.
Right, yep. Okay, before we go to the board, I'm just gonna jump in to make sure that we're being very clear with the topics that are sort of, I think, that are the major open items at this point left in the project. And one is the sidewalk / meandering path, the other of which is the common driveway. So the common driveway then is going to be addressed with a different application to this board at a later time, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And Attorney DeShane, could you just refresh where we are with the meandering path? You're aware of the letter that we did receive from the Pedestrian Safety Committee, and my understanding is that Conservation has sort of given a blessing to get closer to the 50-foot zone as opposed to being 75 feet away. So there has been some correspondence back. I just want to make sure that I'm clear on what you are proposing at this point. Are we still talking about, as was discussed in the last meeting, that the path will be within the right-of-way, and that you'll use the rocks or the sort of the stones that are there, maybe the foundations of a historic wall or a rock pile, I've heard it described a few different ways, those would get relocated between traffic and this footpath, as well as any stones that are stones of significant size that are excavated during the construction of the homes. Is that still where we are, or have you rethought the placement of this meandering path,
No, I mean,
sidewalk.
that's where we are.
Yep.
I mean, you do have a recommendation for a vertical granite curb.
Yep.
At which time we probably don't need those stones
Yep,
thrown in between the walkway
yep,
and such. But we just feel, and I sent in a Google map, the plan view today. And you can see that kind of the black is the proposed and the green is the other requested, another 35 feet. And the point of this is really that if you look down the road, there's just a tremendous sight distance, all the way, well beyond Koala Bear.
Hmm.
It's not really an area of safety concern. The area of safety concern is up at the top of the hill and on various curves. So we just feel that that extension of that sidewalk really doesn't do a whole heck of a lot to, if anything, for safety, because you're already on a pretty safe portion of the road.
There's another.
Got it.
It would, if you look to, you'd have to take out a few more significant trees to do that. There's also kind of a cross slope when you get down there. So you're gonna have to build that up a little bit. The cost per foot of that last 35 feet would be
Yep.
more than at the top.
And I understand that when you get deep into that parcel, there's some sloping, right, towards the home that will be down there, right? The ground kind of falls away, right? It's on.
Down at the
slope.
lower part near the wetland?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's why we're saying we're gonna have to build that up.
Yep. Okay, and remind me again the challenges that you guys have if that meandering path was to be inside of the right-of-way, if it was to be further into the parcel and outside of the right-of-way.
Once it's on the parcel, you lose some exemptions from the ADA.
Yeah.
They give you the right
That's
to
right,
match the slope of the road.
yeah. Yeah,
Once you go off of the right-of-way, you have to hold the 5%. And because of the septic system and
Yeah.
other existing grades and putting a septic system in there, we're not able to do that.
yep. Got it. Okay. Thanks. Sorry for jumping in first, I normally don't, but I had a couple of questions that I just wanted to get straight before we dive into
We all
to
have the
board
same
questions.
questions.
That was helpful.
Okay, so I guess we will go to the board. So Darren, I'll start with you if you'd like.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, so basically Paul kind of covered them. My thought was still some discussion around well versus town water. And those discussions are,
The indication is that the Water Commission is not going to want to match to do whatever the funding takes to extend, so we'll be eventually going to assist. It looks like we're going to assist her, and there are comments relative to if we go to assist her and what we have to do.
yep, saw that, okay, good. All right, just want to make sure that
We are
discussion was
still
moving.
gonna, just so you know, we're still gonna provide them an easement. They've requested that we continue to provide an easement, which we're willing to do up to Old Wall Road in case they ever do have the needs. I think it's more of a needs thing. They have other needs in other area of towns that are bigger than this one, so.
Okay. Nope, good. Want to make sure that discussion was ongoing, that's good. So, and then I guess my other just question is around the meandering path, I guess. So I saw Paul's comments as he just addressed with the kind of vertical granite, I guess I leave it to the experts to figure out, it sounds like you guys would be amenable to doing maybe the vertical if we take away the rocks.
Well, we'd prefer not to. We'd
Okay.
prefer to just do the rocks, but
Right.
we understand that the planning board is gonna take
Yeah.
take things into consideration.
Okay. And Paul, did you understand that they had proposed sort of putting rocks in there as a barrier as well?
Yeah, but, I mean, you're putting pedestrians adjacent to traffic
Yeah.
on a hill.
Yeah.
The first night there's black ice out there and a car does one of these, you're gonna want vertical granite curb.
Good. Yeah, I mean,
In my professional opinion.
and that could be done where they're proposing to do this right now. Okay.
Right.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I think I would lean towards that if that's
Yeah.
the engineering stance on it.
Yeah.
If it's a increase potentially in safety, I'd prefer that. But, great, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dylan.
Okay, thanks, Darren. Kate?
See, I'm the opposite from Darren. because if you do the vertical granite, then you're gonna have the sidewalk right next to the road. And to preserve the character of the street, I'd rather have it moved directly along the lot line. So I would move it even further away from the road down in that section than what you have.
It'd still be grass strips?
You're not gonna, my comment wasn't based on that. You still need to have separation beyond, but you're not gonna have 10 feet, or what you prescribe in your own regulations is 5 feet. You're just not gonna have that, so.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to understand, are you saying to have a grass strip between the sidewalk and the road, and where would the vertical curbing be?
Edge of pavement.
Where that arrow is.
So, okay, so not on the sidewalk itself?
No, on the edge of pavement.
Okay,
But it's we put it there also for drainage purposes. You know, the granite curb is actually a drainage feature. It will prevent water, it will keep water flowing down the gutter.
and the only reason to extend is just to keep people off the road for another 35 feet, because I can see the sidewalk ending where you have in the black for the proposed, and I can see people wanting to continue, and they'll just make a path down there anyway.
I think the trees will prevent them from doing that.
Oh,
Yeah, those trees would have to come out if we extended.
a lot of pedestrians are very ornery people.
Well, they walk in the road now.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd walk
True.
on the side, but they walk on the road.
You're gonna get rid of the rocks, so, yeah, so that would be
The
my.
rocks, but not,
yeah.
hopefully not the trees, though.
Yeah, that would just be my only comment about the value of extending it, because it isn't that much further, and it's not really worth. It's
It
a
doesn't
flip
make
of
it
the
to, it doesn't
coin.
make it to Koala Bear, right? So at some
Yeah.
point, they're coming out onto the street.
Yeah,
If, you know, the point of this, but if we were on a curve or something like that, or there was some obstruction in sight distance, but, you know, I mean,
yeah,
you can see all the way from the top of the hill where we're taking away the safety concern, you know, down, gosh, a quarter mile or so.
yeah. So, that was it. I know I did read that you still had some outstanding issues, so.
Some small things, nothing that's significant. There's certainly no showstoppers. There's nothing looming out there to stop the project, especially now that they've answered the water question.
Yeah. Just reading, going to the draft decision, I have other comments on it, but, I don't know if it was there, or maybe it was in your comments about, on the landscaping plan showing the trees that are to be removed as well as the new ones to be put in, and I can remember last time we were here, my comment was it was very hard to read the landscape plan. So my question is if we kept that in there, that the landscape plan also includes things that aren't going to be there by the time they're doing a landscaping plan, like the trees will already be removed. Do they have to be on the plan, or will the contractors have their own CAD version that they can flip layers on and off so that they won't get confused?
We will inspect the project using a stamped plan signed by the planning board, and will not pay, and we'll hold the developer and contractor to that. So whatever you sign is what will get inspected. And I recommend that whatever you sign is what gets built. And there were some legibility issues that we raised on the set of plans, and, you know, we'll look at that final set for that, with that in mind.
Because they were on the landscape plan, they did have they're gonna plant a tree right where they're taking a tree away. And so what's the value of including the removed trees on the landscape? I'm asking you, because you're the guys who have to work with it.
Yeah, well, as regarding the landscaping, I can't speak, but.
No, I'm just saying, the value on the plan.
Right, yes, no, that's, the contractor is going to bid the project using those plans, and he's gonna build the project using those plans, so they need to be accurate. We look at we look at plans for constructability,
Yeah.
meaning, can the average contractor open these plans and build the project?
You're not getting my question.
I guess not. Joking.
It sounds like,
Not either.
to me, that you would like some sort of condition that prior to, say, like plan endorsement or something like that, that you have a landscape plan that you and engineering and staff are amenable to be able to read what trees are coming down and what trees are getting planted.
I'm just trying to remember, because we haven't gotten to this part of the subdivision rules and regs yet for review. Does the landscaping plan have to show trees that are being removed as well as trees that are being planted?
Yes.
If I may, what they're required to show is if there are, unless they get a waiver, is the trees that are in excess of, I believe, 10 inches in diameter.
On the
Within the
landscape
right
plan.
of way,
Yeah.
It's within a
It's great.
within a certain distance of the right of
20
way.
feet, I think, or the grade. That's what they're required to show.
On the landscape plan?
You don't have, in my opinion, the explicit, thou shalt call out and document every tree or sapling getting removed. It's, what's important for them is what's coming down that they need special permission for, or to note the trees of significant size, unless they get a waiver, and what are they proposing to install so as to satisfy the street tree requirements.
So you're saying the landscape sheet, not plan, the sheet, whatever, has to show everything that's being removed as well?
It's not what I said, I don't believe. They need to propose the street trees to be consistent with your rules and regulations.
Yeah,
That's important, so that anyone can go out and find it. And they should be noting, unless waived, the trees of significant size that are being removed within the right-of-way and/or the associated grading, usually within 20 feet.
and does it matter what sheet they're on, that's on?
In my personal opinion, no, so long as the plans sufficiently convey the appropriate information, how the professional splices it up.
Yeah. It's a nitpicking thing, I'm just,
Right, but to your point, I think, they can't tell us they're gonna cut down 2 trees, get out there and say, the hell with the trees and cut them all down. They can't do that. There are limits as to what, you're gonna set limits on what trees can and can't be removed. And I know you've talked about particular trees, so those will be identified on sheets somewhere?
I'm just, I just found you can't read the landscape plan until it's confusing, and that was all I'm bringing up.
Right.
And I don't care what sheet says these are the trees that are being taken down. I just thought the landscape plan was a bad place to put it. But if you guys are telling me it should go there, then that's the way it
This sheet
is.
here, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's the trees that are coming down. In this particular case, because it's a cleared field, we can really point out which trees. They stand out, they're individual trees, they're not a cluster of trees. So this plan shows the trees that are coming down.
And it shows
it
the
can
new
be-
street trees.
It can be confusing with, and
Yeah.
the stuff that we're required to do, and I understand where that could be
It's
confusing.
just 2 instances,
I
though,
just bring
right?
it up, you're gonna be reviewing them for readability.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
That
it
was my
showed-
comment, that I
The
didn't
existing
think it
trees
was
show on the
readable.
existing
We did
condition plan,
say that. as
but the
well.
right-of-way doesn't,
Legibility issues.
so that's confusing. That could be confusing as well.
Maybe they just clarify trees being removed.
Yeah.
So overlapping text and,
Yeah.
missing
Yeah.
leaders and
Right,
things that.
right,
Perhaps something in color
Yeah,
or
we
something.
commented
could be
on that.
helpful.
That will be a comment that has to be addressed.
okay, all righty.
We'll figure it out.
I just brought it up because of.
I understand your
That was in
concern.
the draft decision that was conflicting with this need for clarity.
Yes.
Okay. Go to somebody else, because I
Oh.
need to review and see if
Sure.
I had anything else.
Okay, Bob?
The one question I had to do was with respect to showing the limits of the FEMA floodplain and whether or not Paul has any concerns until we see that, and also asking the question of when we expect to see that on the plan.
No, I don't, They will pass through that with the building department when they go to get their permits in terms of the floodplain and any work that they're doing in there. That's
There's very little floodplain. I believe we identified it on the plan. It just might be because there's so little, it didn't get picked up. Can you go to the site grading plan, Joe?
All right, thank you. I have no more questions, Dylan.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, my, primary questions were around the common driveway and the meandering path sidewalk. I think similar to Darren, if engineering prefers, granite curbing to relocating the rocks, I would tend to err on the side of what engineering thinks is best from a pedestrian safety perspective. So I understand the challenges that you would face moving the sidewalk significantly inward and out of the right-of-way. I think that would require an awful lot to, especially with the grading in that area, to actually make that happen, and it could be a significant increase in effort and tree clearing and all kinds of things that I don't think anybody wants. I do think, as it is now, what you're proposing, or what is being proposed with that granite curbing, is a pedestrian improvement, and I understand we're probably going to hear from the public that they would like more things or different things, but I do think this does represent an improvement to the current condition, which I think it's good, for lack of a better term. Okay, so anything else from staff before we go, or the board before we go to the audience?
Nope.
Okay, no, Bob? Okay. All right, we will open this up to the audience. I will remind people that if you've already, if you're making a point that has been made previously, I may say, hey, we've already covered that, so we're interested in either new comments or something that is specific to the topics that we're really digging into here tonight. With that, please step up and state your name.
Don Yalia, North Vincent Drive.
Welcome.
So I will say what I've said before, which is that I prefer to have the walkway further away from the road. But I don't think it's been recognized completely that the right-of-way here is 10 to 15 feet wide for much of the way down the road that we're talking about. So it can be 5 to 10 feet from the road, and the existing stone wall, and much of it is actually on a berm. So I would prefer, just for the look of the neighborhood, and I walk this road all the time, to not have a curb along the road. I recognize that at the top of the hill, especially where the existing retaining wall is, the right-of-way there is much narrower. So it would have to be closer to the road, and unless it went onto the property. And then there, yes, a curb probably would be necessary. But, I mean, it doesn't have to be a straight, we talk about a meandering path, but what they proposed is a straight line. It's not a meandering path, but it could be a meandering path. It could start at the top of the hill, go straight down, and then it could meander on the other side of the stone wall, and there's at least a 5-foot section between the stone wall and a line of trees. It would be very well protected from cars. No cars, as far as I know, have run off the road and hit the stone wall. And as you get closer down to where they proposed the end of the walkway, at the 75-foot line, we've already heard that the Conservation Commission doesn't have a problem with extending it to 50 feet. And there, the right-of-way is 15 feet wide almost. So it could easily go on the other side of the tree that they're concerned about and stay within the right-of-way. And with all due respect, it is a dangerous part of the road. Even though it's straight and there's a good line of sight, it goes down a hill, cars blast down the hill at a very high rate of speed. It's a very narrow road, and people are walking on it. It's a very dangerous combination. An extra 25 feet, every foot that's extra is a little bit safer on this road, especially in that area.
So when you walk this road today and you're coming up to that part of the road, where do you walk?
I walk on the left side of the road facing traffic. So,
So you're
and the
coming,
prob-
so you're
the
coming,
problem is
so you're
as
coming
you
up
get-
the hill?
Sorry?
I'm sorry, when you're walking, you're coming up the hill then?
Yeah, I'm going up the hill, right.
Okay.
So, you're walking facing traffic.
Yep,
And so you have to then cross the road to get to the walkway.
yep,
So the further down the hill you have to cross the road, the safer it is for
Sight
for
distance.
people,
Yep.
for sight distance for cars coming over the hill.
yep.
So an extra 25 feet
250.
is valuable
It's
for a safety
250
point of
feet
view.
now.
Right.
I'm not sure what the
Okay.
argument is for not doing another 25 feet, but I know what the argument is for doing an extra 25 feet, and it's for safety.
We've also agreed to put signage up there. I mean, I understand it. it's
Signs
unsafe.
don't mean anything.
I let you finish.
Can I quote you on that? I'm gonna write that one down.
Yeah,
You
really.
said that.
Yeah, right.
Signs don't mean anything.
Okay.
This is, there's a study that was done 4 years ago. I mean, we are taking care of what the problem is out there by extending the sidewalk up across where the bad sight distance is, which is at the top of the hill. I mean, the argument against it is just, when is enough enough? We've agreed to take care of the problem. We're at a pretty significant expense. Looks like we're gonna put in a granite curb.
Granite
if the board
curb.
agrees to that. And we're putting an extra, because it's on an angle, it's really about 35, not 25, feet of curb in. That really doesn't, they're still gonna have to cross over to get there. It's gonna be 25, 35 feet shorter
Mm.
of really good sight distance.
Right.
Well, there have been several accidents in the area, and there was a road safety audit that was done. I was on that road safety audit. I'm part of the pedestrian safety committee. And Paul, I believe you were on that road safety audit also. And, the entire road is considered dangerous by the residents.
Mhm.
And this section, all the way from Colbert to the top of the hill, is considered extra special dangerous. Sure, the top of the hill is super extra dangerous,
Sorry, I'm not familiar
but
with
but all the way down is considered dangerous, and an extra 25 feet to me doesn't seem to be that much of an extra expense.
Okay.
Especially since it can be constructed without a curb at that point, because it will be on the other side of trees.
Right.
And well away from the road.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else from the audience?
Emily Teller, Texas Road. I would very much like to agree with him because I ride my bike over there to the rail trail and then back up that side of the hill. And if cars are coming from Carlisle Road that way on Griffin, they're going pretty fast, and it's a really narrow road. So I would definitely argue in favor of extending the sidewalk as far as possible during this development.
Thanks. Paul, if we would like to see granite curbing, and if we were to consider asking the applicant to extend, this notion of sort of not having the granite curbing start, is that feasible, reasonable, or not reasonable? If you're putting granite curbing against the sidewalk, you're gonna do the entire length, is that?
I would anticipate that, but if you're talking now about going without staying in the public way, I mean, I'd like to see a plan before I comment.
Right.
On something as important as this, but if you're moving it away from I believe your own regulations are 5 feet.
Yeah.
So that would be something we would certainly take a look at, but if you're moving it away from the road, then that's not as big an issue.
Yeah.
You can't do it up top.
Yep.
And the designer is correct to say, once you leave the public way, you face a whole gamut of ADA requirements.
Yeah.
Can you go to your photograph, the photograph again? Yeah.
Yeah, and I do think too, when we did have dialogue around access for people who, would meet the criteria of what the ADA is trying to protect with what they want to see, if you're doing something that's specified that way, I do feel like, and with respect to the gentleman's comments of, if you jog it inward this way, you have more right of way, I think the more that this thing isn't a bit of a straight line, I think you're starting to introduce other complications that for people who are, fully mobile and have full access, may not encounter those things. I think it could be challenging for others trying to use that. I guess what I'm wrestling with, I don't know if the board has an opinion, is the value of this, 25 or extra 30 feet. I mean, if that's gonna sacrifice some trees that, on this look reasonably mature, they don't look unhealthy, they have foliage on them, so I'm not sure that they would be trees that would otherwise be cut anyway. Does an extra 25 feet there. If you'll recall, I actually missed this site walk because I think I was stuck in a work obligation, so I didn't have a chance to walk this, but do you think, 250 feet,
We all missed it too because of the rain.
oh, got it.
Yeah, pretty much.
250 feet is a reasonable distance from the top of the hill, if that's truly where the entrance to the sidewalk as proposed would go in. It's a long way.
And I
Even if
think,
people,
yeah.
and I read some of the stuff in the pedestrian safety committee, there could be people going through there at 40, 45 miles an hour even at times. Obviously, that's not the posted speed limit.
anybody's going over that hill that fast as you're in,
Yeah, that was a third of a mile. That was measured 300 feet from Carlisle Street. So
Gotcha.
that's not, when you come up to that hill, you hit the brake.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
it's,
And I would say, also, hey man, I think if they extend it where they proposed, beyond where they proposed, then you run into having to raise up the elevation and the grade and everything else too. I think, again, for that, and to take away those trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure you have to raise the elevation, I don't know, it drops 2 feet.
So,
You'd have to do something with that.
2 feet and 35 feet, I can't do math
no,
right now.
it's a cross elevation as you get down there. It slopes more away from the road.
right.
So if you're gonna build the sidewalk, you have to bring up,
You're gonna have to, yeah.
you gotta bring up the right-hand side of that walkway in order, because you have, even though you get the exemptions from ADA, you gotta match the grade of the road,
Yep.
not the grade of the shoulder,
Okay.
and you gotta have some more grading in there.
Can I just say that the photograph flattens out the hill? It really is steeper than it looks in this picture.
Okay, thanks. Okay. So, any other comments from the board?
Bob, you have any more comments?
No, I'm good.
All right. So, Joe, then where are we at as far as the process? Oh, we have somebody from the audience.
Can you go out there and see it?
We
I
did a
have-
You
site walk.
probably can't sign off on part of the plan.
We did a
But,
site walk.
it would be nice if you sort of knew what we were talking about instead of
Well,
hypothetically.
the board did do a site walk. I was just not able to attend that site walk, and I have been to that site before previously. But we're talking, very specifically about, a specific
I just
stretch
thought
of road.
Kate
that-
said she missed the site walk too.
people-
We
and
went, but it
board
was
mem-
raining, so she was joking.
I think she was joking that it was
All
raining
right.
at the time of the site walk.
And I drove by there today, so.
Yeah, and I know Bob's driven by there, I've driven by there several times. We'll look at this.
Okay. So, Joe, from a procedural perspective, where are we?
Sure. So you still have the hearing open right now.
Yep.
It's up to the board whether or not you'd want to close it or not. Additionally, you do have 2 draft decisions, one for a stormwater management permit, one
Yeah.
for a definitive subdivision. The applicant has reviewed them, provided some feedback that was incorporated into the draft that you have before you.
Yep.
So if you have any additional edits or questions, you can feel free to ask the applicant, staff. Have any changes you'd like to have, just let us know.
Does the board have any comments or feedback on the draft decision?
I had a few comments. Which one is this? Yeah, I guess this is the definitive subdivision one. The record of proceedings, number 4. It just says that the final extension date being November 1, and we got the email that they extended it to November 8, so that needs to be corrected.
Okay.
And then the waiver requests, there were money values that were not, that were missing.
Yep, that did come in a separate email from the applicant. That was after the draft decision was sent to you. But that was an email from Mr. Dresser.
Most of them were basically not not much, right, except for the sidewalk, because that's not in the packet, and I don't have a paper copy, so I don't remember what it said. Just a spelling correction on a waiver for the 218-13C1 to reduce the cover over the storm drain. And it says 4 feet, and it just should be from 4 feet to 2 feet. And meandering, it's not meandering, but oh well. I had a comment out here.
Hey, while you're looking for your next
Yeah.
comment, do you mind if I?
Go right ahead.
Hey, Bob,
Yes.
did you have an opinion or a thought on the granite curbing?
Yeah, I'm in favor of the vertical granite curbing. I agree with what Mr. Starrett said.
Okay, great.
And I didn't jump in, but I mean, I would prefer to see the granite curbing for the drainage. I think we all saw the rain when we were up on the sidewalk. And secondly, maximizing the distance of the path from the roadway, I think, is also advisable. And the two of them are not mutually exclusive. I think we should take both approaches.
Okay.
Okay. On the same decision, conditions of approval legal, number 37, it says if the special permit is for the driveway waiver or whatever, common drive is not applied for, or we deny it, the applicant retains the right to have the driveway access to lot C through frontage located on Griffin Road. And I have a little issue with if it's not applied for, because I think this is something that the planning board is very strongly, we feel it should be done to reduce the curb cuts onto this part of Griffin Road. So I don't want it to have that. I would like to just have that phrase removed, that if they don't decide to apply for it, because we feel they need to apply for it.
So that section would simply say, if the special permit
If the planning board were to
deny the
it,
special permit.
then they have the right.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
We don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, we don't have a problem with that either.
but it sounds as though you already are planning to do it anyway.
Benefits the subdivision.
Yep.
And on number 40, there was, the town council wants to review proposed restrictive language for the no clear zone areas, but I don't remember seeing anything in the draft decision or on the plans concerning markers to delineate the no clear zones. Are there any no clear zones? Other than
There will be through the conservation
Yeah.
department, but I
Yeah.
was honestly surprised to see that too. but-
Actually, that doesn't belong, that's a carryover from a special permit decision, that doesn't belong in this
Okay,
decision.
because I don't recall seeing anything where we're requiring a no clear zone. Okay, so that's covered under the conservation approval,
It
right?
will be covered under the conservation.
And there was something that was in the stormwater draft decision that I didn't recall seeing in the definitive, and I thought, wow, it really should be there. Okay, stormwater management, site-specific conditions of approval on the stormwater management, number 3, just says your last comments on that were from August 30th. There weren't any later than that, because
Was this about the cover and the pipe, or what?
The most
No.
recent is October 27th.
Yes,
Oh, the date.
so just that, correct, make it the correct date.
You should probably put "and."
Yeah. That way if something was called out in the earlier one, but it wasn't, you're
Yeah.
covered. Thank you.
Just a warning to the people who live in the neighborhood that we have the generic blasting requirements that we put in all of our decisions that, or no, sorry, construction requirements, not blasting, that just so they can be forewarned that construction can start at 7 a.m. on weekdays, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and start and 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturdays. And deliveries can occur from 5 a.m. or 6:30 a.m. on Saturdays, so just so you don't get surprised. Get little earplugs.
Say the last part again.
Deliveries can occur starting at 5:30 a.m. weekdays and 6:30 on Saturdays. Number 35. All deeds conveying ownership from the applicant to lot owner shall refer to stormwater, the endorsed subdivision plans, and the declaration of covenants and restrictions. I didn't see that language in the definitive subplan decision, and I thought that really should be in there, or,
So, if I may, I guess the simplest thing would be to just add that. We can do that.
yeah. I know you try not to duplicate stuff that doesn't need to be, but I thought that really applies to a subdivision plan. And that's all I had.
So, just so that we're clear, are we going to ask in the definitive subdivision decision that number 28, under condition of approval, site-specific, that gets changed from the applicant shall work with the town planner and engineering department on any rocks, boulders, and/or plantings along the path to be retained and installed along Griffin Road? Are we changing that to install vertical granite curbing along the path on Griffin Road?
Might as well keep that too, just to see if, if there's value to retaining any of it.
You're saying do both?
Well,
The plan is what's important to us.
What page
So
is
as long as
this?
it's spelled out in the plan, what they're doing, but
The page is 10 of 13 of the draft decision, as far as, where is that in the packet?
in the packet.
78.
78.
Condition of approval, site-specific. So number 28 is where we were talking about moving the rocks that are under the path to form a barrier, but it sounds like engineering's preference, and I think as we've deliberated on this tonight, it makes sense to do vertical granite curbing along the path as opposed to relocating rocks.
right, and, I mean, you could still do the rocks as long as the curb is there, if you're looking for that aesthetic value, but,
Yeah.
it seemed like there was,
I think, yeah. I mean, I don't know if the board has an opinion on aesthetics of rocks as well as granite curbing. I don't,
the wall that's out there is not the pride of Westford, so.
No. Right.
It's historical, though.
Well, it sounded like,
Probably not,
it
actually.
sounded like there was some question about
Yeah.
the size of these rocks and how many of them are even
Yeah,
are, and
I
I'm
don't-
not sure if that's
I
gonna,
don't think it's an historical.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not sure it's gonna look even. I mean,
I know it could look funny.
if we're asking people who, no offense, but these are not landscape
Right.
architects,
Me
they're
either.
just gonna be
I'm
plopping
not.
down rocks. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's gonna improve and enhance the site or degrade it. I don't know that.
Right.
But is number 28 the item we ought to ask to have rewritten to
Yeah.
just state vertical granite curbing
Yeah.
along the path? So
Well,
Joe-
it needs to be at least included, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Well, that's an easy change. We just need clarity on how far.
Well, that is number 31, where we say the proposed walkway along Griffin Road will run approximately 240 feet easterly from the proposed intersection of Cloverleaf and Griffin Road, just after an existing utility pole.
Which is what's proposed on the plan here, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I add a sentence there in that it will be located as far away from the right-of-way as possible?
It has to be in the right of way.
It's in the right of way.
Well, I mean,
You're
it
saying-
should be from the edge of road. It should be located as close to the edge of the right-of-way
So I guess that would
as
be,
feasible.
As far from the road. We'd like to have some flexibility to work with the engineering
Yeah,
department. to-
the constructability of that is, it's so easy to create a trespass, and you don't wanna do that, because someone falls in the sidewalk, they're on someone's private property, and that's ugly, so.
yeah.
We generally, 6 inches or a foot from the back of the property
Yeah.
line is safe.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking at the lower end.
Oh,
where-
yeah, you have more flexibility down
more
there.
Yeah, that's why I was saying where feasible.
I think they understand the intent. You want it as far away from the traveled way as possible.
Yeah.
You want the curbing, but you have practicality, you want to preserve trees, and so that really is, construction time with engineering department.
Right.
Take care of it.
Correct.
Okay.
If you come up with something rigid now, it's gonna trip back to the board for every little.
They'll do a stakeout first, and we'll look at that.
And that would be like a minor adjustment between the as-built and the.
Yep. Put it here, don't
Got
put it there.
Okay, all righty.
We'll say it with authority.
I mean, we'll probably go out and do a little bit of what we call micro topography and get a little bit more specific about the grades along the stretch that we gotta do, and then work with Paul and Jeremy to, we know what your intent is, and there's no reason not to have that intent, so,
Feel
save
free
the-
to
save the
extend it
trees.
if you wish.
save the trees and make it
We
as
didn't say
safe
that.
as possible. We did not say that.
I anticipate we'll have at least 3 other inspectors on this job, so if not more.
Yes, yes.
So what's the length, Ben?
240 feet.
Approximately 240 feet easterly from the proposed intersection of Cloverleaf Lane and Griffin Road, just after an existing utility pole. Could we get the picture? There we go. Is that the utility pole?
No,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
further up. No,
No,
because that's the
No,
end
it's a
of it.
tree.
That's the
Or is that a
other
pole?
end of
That's
I
a
think
it.
it's
pole.
the pole.
That definitely looks like a utility pole.
Yeah, it is.
So
Yeah.
that tree,
Oh.
that's the 12-inch hickory at the end of it that we've kind of used as our,
That one, okay.
yeah.
So, okay.
Oh, I thought they were referring to a utility pole at the other end.
No, I think they're talking about that utility pole right there. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Great. Any other comments on the draft decisions? Bob, any commentary on the draft decisions?
Yes, I do. Actually, it's one item later than was just referenced. I'm looking at item 29 under the condition of approval, site-specific on page 10 of 13.
Yep.
Just a minor wording change, and I may be responsible for this since this was my suggestion during the last hearing, and that is where it says shall not park on Griffin Road. I think I would prefer seeing the language shall not park within the Griffin Road right-of-way.
That's fine.
I don't want to just see, it's a technicality, but I don't want to see cars parked along the side of the road as well as on the pavement.
Do you have an issue with that?
We don't have an issue with
But that's just during construction, otherwise, the select boards are the road commissioners, and they determine parking.
There's no reason for us to be, and with the situation out there,
Okay.
with that hill, it's still going to exist on Griffin Road. so
Yep, yep,
It's a good thought.
yep, okay. Thanks, Bob. Any other comments?
No, I think it was Kate or somebody already picked up the monetary values that have to be filled in, so I'm good.
Okay. Great. Okay, well, if we're done deliberating on draft decisions, is there a motion to?
I have just one typo
Sure.
that you had in there.
Sure.
On sheet 12, you make reference to the stormwater management system located on lot 3. It's actually lot 4.
That's
that in the
that's in the
stormwater
draft
decision?
stormwater decision?
No, that's
Definitive
in the
subdivision.
definitive subdivision. So 12 of 13, 39A. Just a little typo, that's all.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you. That's a good catch. Right here. It's lot,
Okay,
he's saying it's
yeah.
lot 4, not lot 3. right? Lot 4?
Did you?
Okay. All right.
Oh, God.
Hello?
Could you just mention again where the sidewalk is going to be within the subdivision?
There are no sidewalks within the
We're not,
So
there
they're
isn't a sidewalk in the
completely
subdivision.
waived?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Okay. So, we've heard from the public, we have deliberated on the draft decisions. Is there a motion to close the public hearing for PB 2133 for 22 Griffin Road?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, Darren?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
I say aye. Okay. Is there, give me a second. So, Joe,
Did a good job if they didn't jump on that.
so we can vote on these as amended this evening, right? Okay. Yeah. Are we all comfortable moving forward? Yeah? Okay, great. Is there a motion to approve PB 2133, the definitive subdivision plan for 22 Griffin Road to be called Cloverleaf Lane, as conditioned and debated and discussed this evening?
Were there waivers? There were waivers.
We
And
don't, I thought we didn't have to,
We have to.
And amended.
and amended. I don't think we have to call out the specific waivers, do we?
No, but we have to say including the waivers.
Well, if you make reference to the draft decisions as amended by your discussion tonight, I think that covers it.
In other votes, we've mentioned the waivers.
We used to have to vote on every single
Yeah,
waiver.
but council really hates that, because then you've given away something before the overall approval. It's
Things are
bad.
changing, Kate. Things are
No,
changing, Kate.
never mind. I just thought when we did the motion that it mentioned waivers, but never mind.
Okay, so, is there a motion to approve PB 2133, the definitive subdivision plan for 22 Griffin Road, Cloverleaf Lane, as amended and conditioned this evening?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, Bob?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
I say aye. Is there a motion, let me get it, hold on, to approve PB 2133, the stormwater management permit for 22 Griffin Road, Cloverleaf Lane, as amended and conditioned this evening?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, Darren?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
And I say aye.
Thank you. We'll be filing the special permit for the driveway
Yes.
as quickly as possible, just to let you know.
We're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Good luck. Yeah, okay. Good. Welcome back. All right, the next public hearing item is, give the crowd a second, is PB 2136. It is
Not for
a
now.
modification to a
Two of the
site
same.
plan review to allow for an
Still in the
expansion
box.
of use of the millworks, an indoor and outdoor commercial recreation and restaurant facility into buildings 13 and 16. The applicant has requested a continuance with no discussion to the November 15th, 2021 meeting. Is there a motion to continue PB 2136 to the November 15th meeting, 7 o'clock here at Meeting Room 201 at Town Hall?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, Bob?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
I say aye. We are on to general business. First item under general business, topic A is Diane Lane covenant discussions. This was PB 2102, definitive subdivision and stormwater management permit for an open space residential development.
It just never ends, the covenant that won't end. You recall, the board graciously allowed us to hold off signing the easements until my clients purchased the property so they could actually sign the easements. And then I was just notified that they are actually buying the property in a new development entity they created just for this purpose. So it's going to be purchased and built by Carlisle Road Homes, Inc., and they're scheduled to close tomorrow. However, that means that a covenant signed by Smurf, S. Smurf LLC is really not binding. So we would like you to assign the covenant with the Carlisle Road Homes as the grantor of the covenant. Did not change any of the legal terms, we just changed the names to protect the innocent. So I apologize for the inconvenience, but as you can see, we just changed the name.
Yep.
And actually, the managers of S. Smurf LLC turn out to be the president and the treasurer of the new entity. So it's the same signatures, just on behalf of Colorado. So again, I apologize for the inconvenience, but if you could sign that one, that's the one we'll use tomorrow at the closing.
Great.
Sure.
Joe, anything from staff on this?
Not particularly, so it's just up to the board if you're more comfortable signing a new covenant,
Yeah.
just swapping out the cover page.
Does this require a vote, is my question.
I don't think so at this point.
Really already voted to
Right.
execute the covenant, where this is really kind of administrative.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just have to sign a new one? Okay.
Do you have one? We can sign it.
He's got it.
Got it.
He's got it.
I would sign a new one.
We can do that at the end of the meeting.
Yep.
Yep, thank you very much. So I'll come get it tomorrow, or
Yeah.
the covenant?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks very much.
Attorney James will probably be done in 2 minutes if you want to wait.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
We're very close to the end. Okay. General business, topic B is a request for modification for 19 Littleton Road. This was in regard to PB 1832, site plan review and stormwater management permit for 19 Littleton Road. Joe?
Yeah, so this one here, the applicant has been going through the MassDOT process, try to get approved to put the sidewalk in. There's been change in reviewers midstream, so there's kind of been some delays that have been outside their control. So they are still trying to get this sidewalk built out, but the deadline, based on their previous decision, was January 7th, 2022, so they're asking for a year extension. Given that we're into November now, it won't really be feasible, even if they get approval, within the next few days, to really get that sidewalk constructed prior to cold weather coming in. So they're looking for a simple extension to extend it a year to give MassDOT more time to approve it, and then they can go ahead and get it built.
Got it. Great, thanks for the background. Go to the board, any discussion on this request for a modification to the timeline for 19 Littleton Road to construct that sidewalk?
No, that surety extends too then, right? So it's,
Correct, they would get a new letter from the bank,
yeah,
yes.
that's fine.
My only comment is that it appears that they've been trying to do what they're supposed to do. It's
Yeah.
Mass Department of
Mass
Transportation, so
Yeah.
I'd agree absolutely to extend it.
Yeah. Bob, any comments?
Nope, I agree with everything said.
Yep.
My only comment would be if they get really frustrated, they could always consider creating a sidewalk easement and just doing it on their property or something.
I suppose, there is a condition in there, if for some reason they're unable to construct it, they would then make a cash value, to
Yeah.
a fund, that could be used for easements, it could be used for sidewalks elsewhere along Littleton Road.
Yep.
There's a couple different options there.
I mean, it seems like, to Mike's point, they're trying to do the right thing. They're being held up by the state, so I would say,
I know.
let's give
Stay the
them, let's
course.
give them the time to keep trying to do the right thing.
No, I agree
because-
with that.
Yeah.
That just, couldn't remember if selling the last unit was tied to,
That's why they had this surety mechanism put in place, and I think if they pushed it outside the right of way, they're gonna run into more, wetland resource area issues.
okay.
Okay, so what do we need then? Do we need a motion to approve this modification of the deadline then?
Yes, that would be helpful.
Okay,
So moved.
okay, I was gonna say, do I need to be more specific than that, or?
It's fine.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to extend the deadline for
The
19
sidewalk.
Littleton Road for the sidewalk through January 7th, 2023. There's a motion and a second in front of the board to approve. All those in favor, Bob?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
I say aye. Okay. That concludes the general business topics. We are on to a review of draft minutes. The minutes in front of us are from the October 4th, 2021 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from October 4th of 2021?
No move.
Second.
Yep.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I
I mean,
don't think
Nope.
I found anything, nope.
Nope, no comments.
Okay, motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor? Darren?
Aye.
Mike?
aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
And I abstain. Okay, great. Correspondence, reports, and updates, didn't have anything in it. Seeing that, is there a motion to conclude the meeting?
Second. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Darren?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
And I say aye. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
45 minutes. Good for you.
Dylan?
Good, we're done.